Liftoff will start in T-minus 10 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We have ignition.
It's time! 17 seconds from Game 7 or from championship number 6. Jordan open. Chicago with the lead. Piper got a piece of it. It comes off. The Chicago Bulls have won their 6th NBA championship.
Tying run at second, 2 out. Palmero over the head of Jenks. Uribe charges, throws, out! And the White Sox have won the World Series.
To the far side around the 8-yard line to Hester. Under it and to the middle with the 15 to the 20, break 3 to the 25 to the 30 to the outside. 40, midfield, 40, 30 in the coast, 20, 15, Hester 5. Oh! Touchdown!
Toward Bryant. He will glove it toward Rizzo. It's ENCORE. And the Chicago Cubs win the World Series.
What up, what up, what up? Welcome to Shawn and Maya in the morning on this Hump Day edition. I'm your boy, the SuperBack, Shawn Sierra. Thanks for tuning in, guys. If you're watching us on Facebook Live, well, then I guess you found us on Facebook. I got to take this sticker off. All right. It's had its day. If you're not watching, if you're not following us on Facebook, what? Come on, go to Facebook, type in Sports Zone Chicago, click the like button, and now you're following Sports Zone Chicago. Simple, but wait, there's more. Go to the show's page, go to Shawn and Maya in the morning, like that page as well. So not only will you be following Sports Zone Chicago, but you'll be following Shawn and Maya in the morning as well. If you're watching us on a YouTube channel, excellent. If you're not subscribed to our YouTube channel, for real, come on, guys. Go to YouTube, type in Sports Zone Chicago, click the subscribe button, but also click the notification button. That's the little bell next to it, and that'll let you know anytime the show from Sports Zone Chicago is going live. Get it? Got it? Good. Now, watching us on our mobile app, yeah. Please don't tell me you didn't know we had a mobile app. Come on, baby. Listen, we have a mobile app. So wherever you get your apps from, and just go there, and it doesn't matter whether it's iTunes or Google Play or Amazon or Walmart or Kmart or 7-Eleven, Zayre, Zemsky, Macy, Montgomery Ward, Woolworth, Weebolts, Goldblatt's. It doesn't matter where you get them from. You go there, you type in Sports Zone Chicago, you download it. You take us with you on the go. So not only do you get Shawn and Maya in the morning 3 days a week, not only do you get our other live shows throughout the week, not only are they archived there like they are on Facebook and YouTube, but I'll tell you what, we give you a slew. And I mean a slew of articles thanks to my man Clarence Council III. Big up to Clarence for keeping you abreast of all articles Chicago sports related. Now, if you're watching this on our Roku channel, I like that kind of party, baby. And if you don't know, you better ask somebody. Sports Zone Chicago. We have our own Roku channel. So if you have a Roku television in the house, do us this favor. Download Sports Zone Chicago's channel to your television. Okay? Put us right there next to the big boys. Netflix, Hulu, Prime, HBO Max, Apple Plus, Disney Plus, Paramount Plus, Stars. Ooh, man, we are 1 week away from season 3 of Power Book 3, Raising Canaan. I'm fired up. Actually, a little over 9 days. 9 times. Your son's been absent from school 9 times, Mrs. Bueller. 9 times. 9 days, baby. I am fired up. You can watch it on the big screen, however, on the big screen, right, Mickey? Now. You can also tweet the show. Tweet us at Sports Zone Shy. That's CHI at Sports Zone Shy. Now, if you want to follow me, just me personally online. Want to know what I did? Let me tell you what I did. I made it nice and easy for you folks. Nice and easy. One handle for Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, and TikTok. All one handle at the Shawn Sierra. Guys, we had a great show, but I need you to get interactive. So whatever platform you're watching us on, whether it's Facebook, YouTube, or our mobile app, leave a question or comment on that platform, and it'll come up here in the thread. We'll put it up on the screen. We'll incorporate it into the show. And that, my peoples, is what makes this the best morning Chicago sports talk show around. And that's you. So bring them all, baby. Questions, comments, smart-ass remarks, because ain't nobody scared over here. Like The Rock said, baby, don't sing it. Just bring it. Let's check out the chat. The chat's jumping already. My man, Black Diamond in the house, baby. Top of the morning to you, sir. Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate it. Cornelius Squalls, what up, Sports Zoners? He says, my man, Armando Emeterio Lara Jr. My man, Junior's in the house this morning. That's what I'm talking about. Michelle Walls in the house is a happy hump day swagger. Oh, you got that. Oh, you jump up out the bed and turn that swag on. Sean got the swag, the hump day swag going. I see you, Papa. Cornelia Squalls, it's getting closer and closer to Grown Man's Christmas. You are correct, sir. Yes, you are, doctor. Yes, you are. Rick Gonzalez, what's up, Papa? Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate it. Oh, my man, Shode, what's up, Papa? How are you? His top of the morning. There, that's what I'm talking about, baby. Everybody's fired up. I'm a little fired up this morning as well. I had a good workout this morning at 5 a.m. I woke up at 4:30. Man, had to run to the bathroom, get dressed, head over to CrossFit. It takes me 13 minutes to get there. I got there. We're just literally 5:01. I got there. And everyone looked at me like, you're here? Because I'm never, ever late. I'm never late. Oh, snap. What happened? What'd I do now, bro? Black Diamond said I have a bone to pick with you. What'd I do now? Always something, man. I'm always screwing something up. Oh, man, we gotta get it jumping because he gets cracking early. 9:30, my man Fred Peiffer from the Big Red Bus is going to join us. The Bulls. Did I forget to post your mock? Let me see. Damn, dog, not bad. My man Fred Peiffer from the Big Red Bus is going to join us at 9:30. 9:30. So the bottom of the hour. I'm looking forward. Yeah, I'm looking forward. Sheesh, no. Was it on Instagram or was that Instagram or Facebook Messenger? See, I look. Let's see. Black Diamonds, is it on Instagram? Did you send it via Instagram or Facebook Messenger? Oh, this was 2 weeks ago, so no, that wouldn't be it. But anyway, Fred Peiffer. Here we go. There you done one. The one you sent me 6 days ago, that one? All right. Yeah. Okay. All right. That's the one with the picture of with the picture of us from when I was on Shorty's show, right? That's the one you're talking about? Okay, I got it. I'll upload it. We'll talk about it later today. Thank you for keeping me accountable. I appreciate it, Papa. I appreciate it. Yeah, so 9:30, Fred Peiffer from the Big Red Bus. Talk top of the hour. My man's in them. Ken Davis is going to join it, man. You know, you know what I'm talking, man. My man Ken Davis. I love talking football with Ken Davis. He's the former host of the Under Center podcast that was on NBC Sports Chicago, which is now defunct, no longer in existence. But, man, me and him talk sports all day long, talk Bears all day long. So 10 o'clock is going to be a good one. And the NFL world has converged on Indy, on Lucas Oil Stadium. And, man, a whole bunch of storylines are going on now. Conversations are being had. All right, the groundwork is being laid. Deals are being made. That's what I'm talking about. Oh, that was a bar. All right. B-Chef 23, Goat and Maya in the morning. Far too kind, buddy. I appreciate it. Thank you. Man, my nephew, Armando Emeterio Lara III, Mondo, he's in the house. Phone is busting. It's busting. You're funny. Funny, man. You got jokes, huh? Que chistoso tú eres, huh? The funny man. Funny man. But anyway, guys, so that's the show. 9:30, Fred Peiffer from the Big Red Bus talking Bulls basketball with us. And then 10 o'clock, my man's in them, Ken Davis, talking Bears. All right, so let's get it cracking. Let's get it crack-a-lacking. Guys, you know how we do the first segment of every show is called Top of the Morning.
It won't come just when you want it.
Top of the morning to you. Top of the morning to you. Top of the morning to you.
Here we go, baby. Let's get it jumping. First, we'll do this one. First off, the one topic, the Blackhawks, baby. Yeah. Man, it was a rough one down in Mormon land yesterday. My goodness. Blackhawks fall 2-1 to the Utah Hockey Club. They don't even got a name yet. They're called a hockey club. My goodness. Whew, that was a rough one. Soderblom stopped 34 of 36 shots. Seth Jones, the man who just recently asked for a trade, lit the lamp for the Blackhawks, his 7th of the season, assisted by Donato, his 20th, and Teuvo Teravainen, his 29th. That was the only tally of the night for the Blackhawks. Keeping it moving, the next top of the morning topic on Monday. We're going back. What we're going to do right here is go back. Way back. On Monday, the Bulls inexplicably decided to put together a game and beat the 76ers in Philly, 142, Lord have mercy, to 110. 6 Bulls were in double digits, led by Josh Giddey, 25 points, 16 rebounds, 8 assists. We were talking with Josh Scales yesterday, on Monday, and we were discussing the development of Josh Giddey. He's looking good, playing well on defense, but look, he's averaging. This dude is averaging almost as close to a triple-double every day. Damn near every game he's getting close to a triple-double, if not getting a triple-double. Great stuff for him. I like the development of this kid. He's 23, not even in his prime yet. Herter, one of the guys just came over in the trade, 23.7 of 11 from beyond the arc. That's what I'm talking about, baby. Woo-wee. Zach Collins had 19 points in the blowout effort of the Sixers. Next top of the morning topic, the Bulls host the LA Clippers tonight, baby. Tonight at the United Center. That's what I'm talking about. The Madhouse on Madison. Tip-off is at 7 o'clock Central Time. You can catch that game on Chicago Sports Network or listen to it on their flagship station, 670 a.m. Here we go, baby. Yesterday, the Cubs remained undefeated, baby. Undefeated in the spring, beating the D-backs 4-2. Telling you, baby, they're doing it. Jameson Tyone started the game, 2 innings, 2 hits, an earned run, 2 punch-outs. Kelly 1 for 3 with a homer, his first of the spring, driving in his first RBI of the spring. McGuire was 1 for 1 with an RBI, his 3rd of the springtime. Moving on today, the Cubs. Next top of the morning topic, the Cubs take out the Giants today in Scottsdale. First pitch is at 2:05 p.m. Central Time, 670 a.m. You can hear the radio feed. Listen, me and Steve were talking about this today. What the fudge crackers is going on? Let me take this down. Why? Why the hell aren't the Cubs on marquee every game? Can someone answer that question for me? You have your own television network. You have your own network. And you don't show all of your spring training games? Like, what the fudge crackers is going on? Like, that doesn't make any sense at all. None. All right, today, they're not on marquee. On Thursday, tomorrow, they're on marquee. On Friday, they're not on marquee. On Saturday, they are on marquee. On Sunday, they are. On Monday, no. On Tuesday, yes. Why every other game? You have your own network. You should be able to broadcast all of your games, especially in spring training. It's only an hour radius. What kind of nonsense is that? That's crazy. That to me is craziness. How you have your own channel and you're not on all your spring training games. Is it a league thing that you can't show all your spring training games? I don't know. White Sox too, but they don't have their own channel. They're one of 3 teams on that channel, but they're on CHSN today, tomorrow, Friday no, Saturday no, Sunday no, Monday no. Man, I don't know what the heck what is that nonsense? That nonsense. Oh, snap, my man Plank checking in. Good morning, Shawn. Sports Owners, happy hump day. Bear down, baby. Bear the freak down, Plank. Plank the tank, man. Oh, B-Chef, you see, I just saw this right now. That's what I'm talking about, baby. Yes. Yes. Anyone else checking in? Any new people checking in? Let me see. IG. Okay, Black Diamond. Cool. Yeah, I got it. Let's keep it moving. Next top of the morning topic, my White Sox. Only time we're going to talk White Sox because Lord knows they suck. The White Sox got their ass whooped. They are winless. So the Cubs are undefeated in spring, and the White Sox are winless. They fell to the Colorado Rockies 14-3. Is that what it was? Did I mistake I get the wrong score? My bad if I did. Yeah, it was 14-3. My mistake. Damn. Here we go. We're back, baby. We're back. Here we go. 14-3. Unbelievable. Actually, it is believable. Man, Martin started the game. He got a no decision. He went 2 innings to hit 2 punch outs. All right, Dominic Fletcher, 1 for 2, hit his first homer of the spring, driving in 2 RBIs, his first and second of the season. That's pretty much about it. No, one more. Sorry. Next top of the morning topic. Let's get it cracking. The White Sox host San Diego Padres at Camelback Ranch today. First pitch is at 2:05 p.m. You can catch that game not on CHSN, but on ESPN, their flagship station, ESPN. Oh, no, you can. Yes. What did I do? I'm all over the road this morning. Man, what the hell, Bobby? What the hell, Bobby? Yeah. Catch that game at 2:05 Central on CHSN and on their flagship station, ESPN 1000. Man, the NFL world, which is pretty much most grown men's world. The NFL has descended down onto Indianapolis in the scouting combine. Man, we're going to get these guys. Whew. It was Ryan Poles spoke for the second consecutive day. Ben Johnson spoke for the first time yesterday. This was cool because he's already acting as the head coach, putting his staff together, having meetings, meeting people who are at the facility, the players. Excuse me. I love it. So my nephew Mondo says, only games that are at Sloan are televised on Marquee, and quote-unquote away games are not on Marquee. Really? Okay. Yeah, that's what it looks like. That's interesting. Oh, snap, my man. Back by popular demand. Jay Grizz in the house. What's up, Papa? How are you? Good to see you, baby. Good to see you. Glad you were able to make it today. It's been a minute. Well, we got craziness going on. Ooh-wee. Sorry, we had this. Cool. Thank you, buddy. Gracias. Grassy ass. So they spoke yesterday. I'm going to tell you what. It's good to see Ben Johnson staying consistent. I like the consistency. Steve with a little Espanol in the back chat, private chat. I like the consistency. Again, he also talked about the fact that he's building it around Caleb, which is a crazy idea. A plan to build your offense around the strengths of your quarterback. Unbelievable. I don't know if anyone else has ever thought of that. Want some cutting edge stuff here with Ben Johnson. Of course, you know I'm being facetious, but nonetheless. Good to hear him talk. You know, he talked about his staff, talked about Darnell Wright. I was very impressed. You know, he said he could see Penei Sewell in Darnell Wright. Or Darnell Wright can be another Penei Sewell. Excuse me. Let me tell you something. That is some unbelievably high praise. Because Penei Sewell is one of the best offensive tackles in the NFL. And for you to compare those two, and you know what? Maybe he's just trying to hype him up. Maybe he's just trying to challenge him, saying, hey, you need to play. You can and you should be playing at his level. Whatever's necessary to get the best out of your players, you do. Oh, one more top of the morning topic. Should have been done with the Cubs, but I had it wrong. Man, guess who's back in town? Over in Mesa. Slammin' Sammy was with the Cubs yesterday in the dugout. Here he's talking to a couple of players. Alcantara, I think, is one. And let me tell you, it just looks right. It just feels right. It just feels right that Sammy is back where he belongs. In the Cubs organization, in the dugout, at spring training, at Cubs convention, at Wrigley Field. Sammy just needs to be there because Sammy was the face of this organization for years. Sammy was one of the most, if not the most popular baseball player in Major League Baseball in the show for years. The home run race with him and McGwire, epic. And Sammy did it with a smile on his face. And McGwire, the problem with Mark McGwire is he's so stoic. He has a kind of angry, arresting bitch face. Like doesn't really smile much. Sammy was smiling, laughing, telling jokes, dancing. Different culture, different ways they were brought up. That's all. I'm not shitting on McGwire. No. Just saying his personality was much different than Sammy's. Sammy had that flair, the Sammy hop after he knew he got a hold of one. So it's just right. Sammy Sosa back with the Cubs. Like I said, back at the Cubs convention a few weeks ago. And here he's back in the dugout at spring training. Hopefully that's a good sign to come for B-Shep says, dang, Sammy been spending a lot of time in the Arizona sun. Hell yeah, I would too. You know, you understand why you get so many baseball lifers. Guys who go on to become bench coaches and first and third base coaches and stuff like that. Because I'm telling you, there's nothing like it. When you're on a team, especially baseball, because you're together every day. Football, okay, a little different, but you're not playing every day. You play once a week. You spend a lot of time at the facility, don't get me wrong. Baseball, you're there every day. Your games are 3 hours long, but you're usually there 2 hours beforehand. That's 5. And then you're there for an hour, hour and a half after. That's 6.5, 7. That's a third of your day for 162 games, half of which are on the road. So you're with your boys the whole time. So it's funny because you see guys who just lifers because they just miss that camaraderie. And I can tell you, Junior can tell you as well, man, we miss the camaraderie of our football teammates. I get it. Man, what I wouldn't do to be at Hanson Stadium again, behind the stadium, in between the stadium and the Park District building, drinking beer and ordering wings from Coleman's on the west side, blasting our music after we blew out somebody else. It's the camaraderie. Yep, I know you do, bro. I know. Junior says I sure do miss that. I'm telling you, it's the camaraderie. With Junior, we'd go to Utter Brothers. There's a bar on Irving Park, about 2 blocks west of Central. Utter Brothers, the first one's on Addison and Pulaski. And Utter Brothers, this one's Brothers on Brothers is on Addison and Pulaski. Utter Brothers, the second one, is on Irving Park. Like I said, about 2 blocks west of Central. With the Chargers, we'd go there. There were times we'd leave practice. We start practice at 9 in the morning on Sundays. We get done by 11:30, 12. We'd head right over to Utter Brothers, and we'd close the joint at 11 o'clock or midnight. There were many days that happened. So you see why you get so many lifers. Oh, look at Jay Grizz. So all this pre-draft hype that put an extra pep in my step again, feeling rejuvenated about our Bears again. And you should. You should. The Bears are the belle of the ball again. I know they don't have the number 1 overall pick, and not everyone's not coming after them. And there's not a lot of talk about Tennessee in the number 1 pick. You know what I mean? There's not a lot of talk about them, and it's interesting. I don't know why. But the last 2 years when the Bears had the number 1 pick, they were the bells of the ball. There's a lot of talk about them, but there's not a lot of talk about the Titans. I don't know why. Anyway, listen, we're going to take a break. I got to get the warden off to CrossFit. I got to wait for my guy he's ready. He's ready in the green room. He's ready to roll, baby. My man, C-Red Fred. Talk a little Bulls basketball. Talk a little Josh Giddey. Woo, man. Josh is making me giddy with the way he's playing. Saying. Except you don't need to be putting up 142 points and winning. You got to be tanking. But that's another story. We'll talk about that on the other side of the break. So don't go anywhere, folks. Fred Peiffer from the Big Red Bus joining us next. Keep it locked right here. Shawn and Maya in the morning on Sports Zone Chicago.
Many will hear the calling. Few will earn the title. United States Marine. The few, the proud, the Marines.
Hey, it's your boy, the SuperBack, Shawn Sierra, and be sure to follow Sports Zone Chicago on all social media platforms, on Facebook, Instagram, and our Roku channel. You can find us at Sports Zone Chicago, and on Twitter, we are at Sports Zone Shy. Also, be sure to download our mobile app so you can take Sports Zone Chicago with you on the go.
How do you take care of your mind health?
For my mental health, I meditate in the mornings.
I have my dogs. They're the best.
I just find ways that help me just relax.
Finding things that make me happy, like being close to my family.
I meditate a lot and read books.
I have hobbies outside of the game. I'm able to switch off. I'm able to turn my brain off from the game of basketball.
Your mind health matters.
Your mind health matters.
We are looking for a few heroes, mentors, trailblazers, innovators, a passion to change lives, spark curiosity, open hearts, and awaken minds, help students answer the question, who am I? This could be your calling, but this is no job. It's the journey of a lifetime. Be a hero. Be a teacher.
Mental health and learning disorders don't discriminate. 17 million children and adolescents in the United States live with disorders like anxiety, depression, ADHD, and dyslexia. Less than half get the help they need to thrive. Help the Child Mind Institute change these children's lives. Visit childmind.org.
George, Gershon Yabusele, Quentin Grimes, who they acquired from Dallas, and Maxey are the five out there for Philly. Nice pass by Buzelis to Kevin Herter.
The Bulls want to know what they have with him.
And he lobs it up there for Buzelis.
Oh, go get it, Boozy Vert.
Here is Giddey spinning inside.
Nice
what a move by Josh Giddey. Hopefully find this city appealing and have enough money, I think, the Bulls to bring in a high-level free agent.
Oh, the Red Baron! Bang, bang, bang!
Oh, I was wondering when he'd come out with one.
Really do anything for him other than he got a gold.
Dalen Terry switches to the other side to finish. Players, that was the same issue for Philly tonight. Terry, nice pass off to Collins. 14 points for Zach Collins.
Welcome back to Shawn and Maya in the morning on Sports Zone Chicago. Those clips courtesy of Chicago Sports Network. Those were the Bullies who inadvertently won on Sunday. Come on, man. Supposed to be tanking. What's wrong with you? Developing these youngsters. And Herter, what the hell are you doing in 7 for 11 from beyond the arc, fool? Wait till next year. Sorry, I got a little ahead of myself. Our first guest today, I'm fired up to have him on, talk about this craziness. He's a host of the Big Red Bus podcast. You can find him on Twitter at CBE for Chicago Bullseye. CBE Fred. Guys, just welcome back to Shawn and Maya. Fred Peiffer. Fred, what's up, Papa? How are you? You think you're on mute, Papa? I think you're on mute. Oh, goodness. All right. Let me know when you're ready. Give me a thumbs up. Yeah, so I was a little annoyed with the Bulls. Like, come on, man. 142 points. Like, Philly sucks. Stop losing to these teams. Stop beating these teams, man. You know, we're trying to get the worst or the best draft, best position to get Cooper Flag. There's a couple other guys. But nonetheless, you know, you're kind of tanking when there's hope.
Shawn, can you hear me?
Gotcha.
I'm sorry about that. I live in fear that we're going to have audio issues. So going forward, I'm just going to use my cell phone. Good to see you. How you doing, man? What's going on?
I'm doing well. Thank you for asking. You know what? I'm fired up. A little disappointed at the Bulls. I liked what I saw. But, man, do that shit next year, bro. Do that next year. Dude, what the hell's with Herter hitting 7 from 11 from beyond the arc, dude, like a real three-point shooter? What the hell's that all about?
Pretty ridiculous, isn't it? Well, rest assured, we're still committed to $18 million a year for Kevin Herter next year, $18 million a year for Zach Collins. I think those are untradeable contracts. People like to say, well, hey, they're expiring. We can move them for another deal. In reality, there's a lot of good players next year. They're on expiring deals. Usually teams want something in return, usually a good player. That's why it was so frustrating to me that we passed up on Alonzo Ball trade this year, where we could have got a number 1 pick from the Memphis Grizzlies, and we decided to sign him for another year with a player option, with a team option in year 2. Doesn't make a lot of sense to me. This team is clearly should be doing the best it can to get involved in the Cooper Flag sweepstakes, but alas, we're screwing that up pretty easily.
Yeah, we can't do nothing right. We can't win for losing, can't lose for winning. But I'll tell you what, this Kevin Herter guy, I don't expect him to hit 63% from beyond the arc every freaking day. But God bless it, man. He looks good. He got a nice stroke. No, did he? All right. He looks like a legitimate three-point shooter. Is this guy a legitimate three-point shooter that can really cause some damage once he gets acclimated with a complete offseason and gets acclimated in the system?
I mean, he was in Atlanta. He was a pretty good, solid role player for them. He's 26 years old, will be 27 next year. I just don't think he's on the same time frame with this team. He's a role player who makes $18 million a year. I think is overpaid. He was awful in the first few games. It's great to see him get a little bit hot in one game. But I think Kevin Herter is kind of like a limited defensive on the defensive end. He's limited on defensive end. He's been inconsistent with his shot ever since he went to Sacramento. He's been inconsistent here. I don't exect anything out of this guy, and I don't think he's in the long-term plans for the Chicago Bulls. I think if they could have moved him at the trade deadline, which they were trying to do from by many accounts, they just were unable to do it. So I fully expect him to finish out his career next year with the Bulls, and that will be it. That we'll see with Kevin Herter.
Okay, well, that sucks because, like I said, he's a guy who looks like a nice three-point shooter. Like I said, I don't expect him to shoot 7 for 11 beyond the arc, but, man, you start giving me, 5 for 8, 5 for 9, all right, from beyond the arc. That's a nice day. That's a nice day at the office, and that's a nice, and every person has a role, and if that's his role, man, how perfect would that be? But the guy I want to talk about is Josh Giddey. This kid is really, really developing. He's what, 23? 23 years old?
He's 22 years old.
The kid's not even in his prime, dude. Not even near his prime. 24, 25, 26 is when he's going to hit his prime. This kid keeps getting better and better. He's coming up to double. He flirts with triple doubles almost every game. Talk to me about his development moving forward with the Bulls.
Well, he's been absolutely fantastic ever since the All-Star break. Really, since they traded, I think you could kind of look at when they traded Zach LaVine, gave him a lot more usage when that trade happened. I'm really conflicted on Josh Giddey because if you look at the last 5 games, a lot of this greatness has been almost propelled by his three-point shooting. It's been incredible. I think he's over 50% in the last 5 games, and that's just not sustainable for him, especially with how slow his release is. Like, if you watch, teams don't guard him at the three-point line. They let him take that shot whenever he wants it. In the last 5 games, he's been hitting it. But, I don't expect that to continue. But that said, he's up, I think, at 37% on the year. I mean, that's really darn good. As a guy who's really good at getting in the paint, I love his rebounding. He's an excellent passer. I guess for me, my hesitancy with Josh Giddey is on the defensive end. I mean, for the vast majority of this year, he's been terrible. And I understand he's definitely in the last 5 games been better, provided more effort. But he's just a limited athlete that I think is always going to be kind of a guy you have to protect on the defensive side of the ball. So the question is he good enough offensively to make up for those deficiencies on the defensive side of the ball? Unequivocally, if you're going to move forward with Josh Giddey, you have to get rid of Vooch. You have to get a defensive interior force who can clean up the mess on the perimeter for Josh, because I think that if you look this year, a lot of the issues with the Chicago Bulls have been teams hunting that matchup, hunting Josh Giddey and Vooch in a pick and roll.
Yeah.
And just destroy him. So that's if you got a really good defensive center in here, I think it could work with Josh Giddey. I mean, but the bigger question is, Shawn, how much are you going to pay him? Like he's a restricted free agent this offseason. And, at the end of last year, reports came out, according to Joe Cowley, that he wanted $30 million a year. $30 million a year. He wanted, the money that Suggs got in Orlando. And I think if he keeps on putting up these numbers for a team that, is clearly rebuilding, he's going to be the, pretty much the number one or number two, the offensive answer for the remainder of the season. He's going to put up numbers that are going to potentially demand $30 million a year. I'm not sure I'm comfortable with that dollar amount. Like I'd be happy with 20, I guess, but this is essentially a hard cap era with the new collective bargaining agreement. Every dollar matters, and you've already screwed up on Patrick Williams. I guess what I would do if I were the Chicago Bulls is let him go out there, see if he can get a deal. There's not a lot of teams with cap space, but if he gets a deal, I think it will probably be in the $20 to $25 million range, then match it. But let's see what he can come up with. I would not pay him $30 million a year.
Yeah, $30 million is a little rich for me, but unfortunately, that's the cost of doing business and playing poker nowadays. I would agree with you that defensively he had been a liability, but recently I would tend to say his defense has actually come along. He's been hands in the passing lane. He's had a couple of a lot of steals. I'm liking his development on the defensive end, and the kid's still only 22. All right,
Agreed.
you have a guy. And team defense, we're not asking him to be a Jordan stopper, okay? We're just asking you to play team help defense. All right, sag a little, hand in the passing lane. All right, the guy rebounds. He's flirting with a triple double. How can you not? You could easily justify $25 million to $30 million for a guy who flirts with a triple double damn near every game. And this is with guys with not a lot of help. You know what I mean? So. Yeah, I'm good with 25, but if they give him 30, okay. Again, the cost of playing poker in today's NBA. But a guy like this, I can't wait to see till he fully gets into his prime, because this dude is looking pretty good now. The biggest thing I have is just stop bitching. Like every time you get a foul or someone hits you, you get physical and you start complaining. Like that annoys me to no one. Get your ass back on defense. But I love the way he's playing. I love the way he's leading this team, and I love his grit. I'm really liking this young kid. I didn't think I would like him this much, and he's growing on me big time.
I agree, definitely with a lot of what you said there. I was not a fan of the trade. I still think, big picture, we should have been able to get at least a number one or number two pick in addition to Josh Giddey, who finished the year as a bench player for the Oklahoma City Thunder. And we, obviously it hasn't hurt the Thunder. They're 8 or 10 games better than they were at this point last year. So they're very happy with the trade. I know people will be like, oh, they regret moving Josh Giddey. No, they don't. Alex Caruso, when he's on the court, that team is elite defensively, and he's going to be awesome in the playoffs for them. That said, I think there's probably some level of concern from the Bulls' perspective that, they don't want to see him go somewhere else or just walk and get a deal and not match it. So I think that was my issue with the whole trade is the timing on it. Number one, you bring in a player who's going to make us better. And to what end? To what end? We're still worse than we were last year, but we're not bad enough that we're competing for Cooper Flagg, who's a truly transformational player who can actually be the keystone of a cornerstone of a franchise. I don't think Josh Giddey can be that. He's just not good enough of a athlete and a playmaker to me. He's good. I just don't think he's that good. I've been pleasantly surprised at how good he's been this year, especially recently. But I will also note it hasn't really been conducive to winning, especially we're 1-6 in the last 7 games, and some of these have been awful. I don't know. He's such a tough decision to make, and I guess to me, big picture on the defensive end, I really think the 2 things you need now to win in the NBA is really good 3-point shooting and really good defensive efficiency. And he doesn't really help in either of those areas. Now, that said, he's been hitting at a 50% clip from the 3-point line lately, so that's good. I just have concerns that it's not sustainable once people start paying attention to him there.
If you give Patrick Williams, what, to give him 90 mil, you can give this guy, because he's doing a hell of a lot more. You know what I mean? And I understand that's a contract, and it's god awful. But man, this guy does all his rebounds aren't offensive, some on the defensive end. You know what I mean? So this guy, and again with defensively, I think you can play better defensively. You can learn to be a better defender, all right? And you, especially with Billy and some of the young, a lot of the younger guys who are good defensively, and like Modest, like I love, Modest. We'll talk about him in a minute.
Yeah,
but you can help. You can sag off a little bit because you got a little help with Modest in the back hitting, almost 1.5 blocks a game. This youngster is awesome. So I'm really high on him. Like I said, I just can't wait to see him in 3 years when he's 25.
Yeah, Shawn, you mentioned something though I think the Bulls need to learn from, and that is Patrick Williams and how they handled that contract last year. He signed for 5 years with a player option, which was inexcusable in the 5th year, $19 million a year. When he was going to be a restricted free agent, the exact same situation that Josh Giddey will be in this summer. And if you contrast what the Bulls did with a really good organization like the Cleveland Cavaliers, the Cavs had a player that they loved too, who actually had a better year in the same draft in Isaac Okoro as Patrick Williams. And they handled it exactly different. They said, we know there's not a lot of money out there. You're an RFA. You go out and see what you can get. And if you can't, you're going to come back to us on a number that we want to pay you. And they signed him, who again had a better year, was a better defender, 3 years, I think it was $13 million per year. And the Bulls don't even let him go out there, don't even let him see what he can get out in the marketplace. They give him $19 million a year with an inexcusable player option. Nobody gets a player option. Even some of the best players in the league don't get player options anymore in the 5th year.
Yeah.
They gave it to him. Horrible management. And I know from what I understand from the sources I have, they regret it.
They better regret it. If they don't regret it, then there's a lot more going wrong in that organization because you know when you make mistakes. We all know when we make mistakes, and that was an egregious mistake. But let's talk about the youngster, Modest. I really like. Again, I still like his game. I still love the edge he plays with. He's got to develop. There's things he's got to do. But the kid's 19 years old. We literally have 5 to 6 more years before he's in his prime. And if he continues to develop, is this the kind of guy that can be one of the corner pieces, one of the cornerstones of a franchise?
Well, there's a lot of good signs. I mean, let's start out with his size. He's huge. And I think what I've been most impressed by is his ball handling for that size. It's kind of rare for me to see a big handle the ball like that and make.
Let me ask you a question real quick. Do you know, did he have a growth spurt? Because, sometimes guys will, they're 6'3", 6'4", and all of a sudden, boom, they're 6'9". Because if that's the case, then I understand why his ball handling so good, because he played as a guard for the most time, if that's the case. Because he has a nice handle at 6'10". Are you freaking kidding me?
Exactly. Scottie Pippen's an example of that. Scottie Pippen was a point guard at 6'5", or excuse me, I think 6 foot when he was a freshman in college.
Yeah.
He actually was I think the team
ball boy.
Did the laundry. Yeah, exactly.
Ball boy.
Another example of that is AD. Anthony Davis really had a growth spurt pretty late. He was a point guard before that. But yeah, you bring up a really good point. I don't know, but I suspect that's true. He does need a growth spurt in size. Like, that's my issue with Modest. And people are really frustrated with Billy. You should just throw him out there. And you've seen it since he's entered the starting lineup. He's had one game where in the 6 games he started, I think, where he's at a positive plus minus. He really struggles with size and elite big. So if you look at the Detroit game, that first play just sticks with me where Thompson lowered his shoulder and
ran him over
and just knocked him over, and he just dunked right on him. Like, that happens a lot. And I think coaches will notice that. On the defensive boards, he just gets manhandled on the defense where he's trying to buy.
That's short term. That's a simple fix. Give me 2 off seasons.
Yeah,
he'll be a size of Lowry Markkanen. You know what I mean? Like, give me, or even if he's the size of the Greek Freak. You know what I mean? Because the Greek Freak's not bulky, but man, he's definitely he's filled out a lot more than when he came in the league. And so that's all we're asking for Modest. The dude's 19. Like, you're not going to be a fully yoked person at 19. You know what I mean? So. and all those other things, it's fine. I don't mind that because it shows you literally what you need to work on. All right, you need to work on strength. You need to work on a good base. You need to work because Rodman wasn't very big, but you just got to get leverage. You got to get under these guys. You can't go chest to chest with a guy who's stronger than you because you're going to lose. This is going to help him with leverage, and once he gets stronger and understands leverage. I think this kid's going to be good. Do you think he can be one of a cornerstone of a franchise, of the Bulls franchise? Him, Indy, all big component.
If his 3-point shot develops like it has been this year, so he was awful in the G League as a 3-point shooter. I think everything is set up by that. Like, what does Modest do well? I think he's an excellent ball handler who can attack the rim and finish at the rim aggressively. That's, to me, his best asset. Well, it's a lot easier to do that if you're a threat from the 3-point line. Teams are showing hard on you when you're at that line. And, if you look at how he's been defended this year, teams don't aggressively show on the 3-point line with him because that's what the scouting report says. He's shooting 35% though this year from 3, which is better than 29 or whatever he was in the G League. I think he was at 27. So as long as that outside shot keeps on coming with him, I think he's going to be really, really freaking good on the offensive end. Defensive end, he's an excellent help defender already at the age of he's 20. He'll be 21 at the beginning of next season. But as a again, where he struggles with the physicality, but that happens a lot, with guys at 20 at this age. And so you're right. I agree with you, Shawn. Like in 2 years, I want to see where he's at. I am a little concerned though, Patrick Williams played a ton his rookie year. And I heard just all this stuff. Oh, he belongs there. He looks fantastic. No, he didn't. He was terrible. He had the worst plus minus on the Bulls that first year. He played 71 games, never played hard, called him standstill P-Will, never ran, awful rebounder, just horrible things there. Modest is way better. Modest has shown me more in a week than Patrick Williams did his entire season as a rookie. But that said, there are some things I do want to see him get better at, just in terms of being more aggressive on rebounding, just defensively. I think defensively he's just struggled a little bit. But again, it happens at 20. To answer your question, he absolutely can be a cornerstone. I do feel, though, to optimize Modest, Buzelis, and Josh Giddey, you need a fantastic defensive center. Like a Rudy Gobert type or, somebody who's that good.
So let me ask you a question. One of my guys in the chat, Jay Grizz, said even if we missed out on Cooper Flagg, Duke's got a couple of studs. There's a shocker. Duke with a couple of studs on their roster. But he said Maluk, the center. What about that young man?
Yeah, awesome. But to me, there's 4 guys. And so I've kind of started to do a deep dive on this draft class. And I think if you talk to most experts, from what I understand, it was anticipated to be a little bit better than in actuality it will be. There's some delineation on, in fact, most people now will say next year's draft is actually going to be better than this one. That said, there's a transformational player at number 1 with Cooper Flagg. Almost everyone agrees on that. Then there's a lot of, Dylan Harper, I think right now is probably the consensus number 2. I love him. He's not a great 3-point shooter yet. I think he's shooting 32%, but that's going to be a big part about his growth. I do love Dylan Harper, though. I think he's going to be awesome.
And Ron's son?
What's that?
Ron's son?
Yeah, Ron's son. What a story. What a story that would be. Shawn, we bring in Dylan Harper who changes things around. Now, that said, he's a guard. He's 6'6", 6'7", finishes really well, high IQ. Not like a uber athlete, not like VJ Edgecombe, who's my next player, who I love from Baylor. Just an incredible athlete, shooting 38% from 3, so you see an improvement there. I highly recommend everybody look at VJ Edgecombe from Baylor. I think is going to be pretty darn good. He's about 6'5", 180 at guard again. But, man, that guy's an athlete and just an incredible player. Plays with a high motor, which I love. And then there's Ace Bailey, who I also like a lot. To me, those 4 players are kind of like in their own class. Well, Cooper's in his own class. The next 3 are kind of interchangeable. Okay. And I really wanted the Bulls. But to me, after that, there's a dividing line. So I really wanted the Bulls getting this top 4 somehow and get one of those 4 players. I would be thrilled with one of any of those 4. And then after that, I'm not sure that it to me, it's a little bit, I don't know. I think there's some very good players here. I don't think there's any franchise changers after those 4. Ace Bailey can potentially develop into that, man. The guy's got incredible skills, incredible. But he's young, very young, obviously. Dylan Harper, to me, is a little bit more polished. And then VJ Edgecombe is just an insane athlete who, I mean, he'd be looking good on any team. So it's exciting. That is absolutely exciting. Pairing any one of these guys with Modest Buzelis would be freaking great. And, so there is reason for hope for the Bulls. Next year, though, I think we're going to absolutely be terrible again. If you look at our salary, I mean, my goodness, we were – so I'll just do this really quick because I know we're running out of time. We got Vooch making $21 million, Patrick Williams making $18, Kevin Huerter making $18, Zach Collins making $18. I would argue that those 4 guys, Vooch, Patrick Williams, Kevin Huerter, and Collins, making almost like $85 million is arguably the worst allocation of cash in the NBA. I mean, it's horrible. None of those guys, Vooch has fallen off a cliff in the last couple of weeks. I think they're going to all be terrible next year, but they're all expiring deals, and then the next year will be – I think we're going to be bad next year, but that's good because the draft is bad. So we'll see where we can go. After that, things open up quite a bit.
Yeah, guys, we're joined by Fred Peiffer from the Big Red Bus podcast, talking Bulls basketball here on Shawn and Maya in the morning on Sports Zone Chicago. Before we let you go, real quick, give me a thought of the youngsters, Julian Phillips and Dalen Terry. Dalen Terry had a good game yesterday, but he seems to be a little inconsistent. Julian Phillips seems to be a little more kind of like a utility guy. He plays good defense. Good, he's hits a couple key threes here and there that kind of hurt you on if you're an opposing team. Give me your thoughts on those youngsters.
Yeah, they're both role players. I think Julian Phillips has shown me a little bit lately, kind of in the mold of Derek Jones Jr., but that's what he's going to be. I don't think he's going to be any difference maker. He's just a rotation player that, I'm not going to lose any sleep if he's not on the roster. Dalen Terry is, to me, one of the most frustrating players to watch because he's got a lot of good. He's a great passer. He plays hard. I like that about him. He's got one of the worst foul rates in the league. He's a fouling machine. That's never good, and it drives coaches nuts because you're putting the other team in a bonus, and his foul rate's inexcusable. So I don't consider him to be – he's an end-of-rotation player. He's not a starter in the NBA. Mm-hmm. I'm not on Phillips yet. Dalen Terry's still only 22, but I just haven't seen anything that makes me, feel great about committing to Dalen Terry. I don't know about you, but – I think he does have some decent tools. But again, you can find guys like that all over the league. I don't think he's any.
He's your own. He's your home. He's home. He's drafted and developed by you, and he's another one. You put him in the weight room, get him in the weight room, and at 20, you come in the league at 19, 20, 21. You're still immature. Think of how immature we were at 20. You know what I mean?
That's absolutely true. I like to go to Bulls games early and watch how guys warm up, watch how guys get prepared for the game.
Yeah,
I remember a couple of years ago I was watching Dalen Terry when he was like a rookie, or maybe it might have been his second year, but I was just really turned off, just goofing around, not serious, shooting airball threes from the corner in pregame. You're shooting an airball three from the corner in pregame. How do you expect to do well in the game? So that really bothered me. I noticed this year though, I got there, it was like a different player. He was serious, he was focused, working and getting ready for the game. So you're right, man. Kids progress at that age pretty quickly, but I just don't know what his ceiling is, honestly, Shawn. I don't feel like I've seen anything that would tell me this guy's going to be, even a starter. He's not.
No, I don't think he is. But everyone's not a starter. You know what I mean? Everybody's got a role. That's why they're called role players, and that's the most important thing in a coach is making sure your players know their role. He's phenomenal coming off the bench, giving you energy, giving you defense, running up and down the court. That's his game. And I liked it. Even if he adds a little post move, that's even better. But you know what? Run your ass up and down the court with them long ass legs, block shots, hit a three now and then. Just give us energy on that second unit. And that if that's your role and he plays it well, I'm more than happy with it.
The problem with him though, Shawn, he's a first round pick, and Julian Phillips is a second round pick, and that affects how. In an era where it's essentially a hard cap. Every dollar matters. He makes twice as much as Julian Phillips. He's going to make $5 million next year, and then with the team options, he could make as much as $7.5 million. I don't want to pay that much for him because to me he's a minimum. He's an NBA minimum type of contract. He's not deserving anything more than that. Julian Phillips is making nothing, so it doesn't matter. It's 1.8, 2.2, and 2.4 as a second rounder. So that kind of stuff matters. Like if you had to take a pick today, who would you rather have, Julian Phillips or Dalen Terry? I'd rather have Julian Phillips. Yes, and he makes half as much money. So, the Bulls have ignored this for years now. They gave Javon Carter a player option of $7 million that he's going to absolutely take because he's a minimum contract player for next year. So we're stuck with that salary. They got to be more aggressive, and they did it with Kobe White. He's only making 12.8, and Iowa was only making 7.5. But what they did with Patrick Williams is inexcusable, and giving a third year to Vucevic was a joke. So now we're stuck with him for 21 next year.
Fred, great stuff as always, man. I love talking hoops with you, Papa. Do me a favor, though. Let everybody know where they can find you and your work online.
Awesome. See the Big Red Bus. Search for Big Red Bus Bulls on any podcast platform. You'll find me and Doug Tonis. We love talking about the Bulls. And then also, you'll find me on Twitter at CBEFred, at CBEFred. Apologize about my dog in the background. Obviously upset with the state of the team. We're moaning about the state of the beloved Bull. But Shawn, good stuff on the horizon. I always love talking basketball with you. Thanks so much for having me on. I love what you do, and I'm excited about the excitement with the Bears coming up, Cubs, and then obviously with the Bulls in the draft.
Well, cut the Fubs, and my White Sox suck, so baseball's going to be.
How dare you? Come on, the Cubs are.
Hey, you know what? Here's all I'm going to say about the Fubs. It's good to see Sammy back.
Yeah,
Sammy was at obviously a Cub convention. He was in Mesa yesterday with the guys. It's just good to see. He that's where he belongs. He belongs. Yeah. He should be a baseball lifer. All right. We see him in camp, or we see him in spring training. We see him around Wrigley. He should be an ambassador. It's got to be Sam, because what he did for the Cubs, for baseball really, but especially for the Cubs. Come on, man. You got to keep him around in any capacity, man. He's an awesome guy.
One last question. What happened to Rita this year? Basketball. Holy cow,
bro! You know what? So what happened is Roshan Russell left. They had an issue with the athletic, the
AD
administration. So 2 years ago, Marquise, who's it? Marquise? No, Marquez.
Three of the best recruits in the country.
They did 2 years ago. They had that Lithuanian guy, Marquez something, the guy at University of Illinois who's hurt now, and they had one more. They got into it with the administration. They fired Curtis Price, was former St. Rita and DePaul legend, left as the athletic director. He got into they butted heads with somebody. So Rashawn left. When he left, everybody left, and now they're bottom of the base. They might even be worse than bottom of the barrel. They might be under the barrel.
That's the best way to describe it. My St. Lawrence Vikings are looking really good. My son plays for St. Ed's. We're still live in the playoffs, so hopefully we can see some good stuff in these playoffs. But I was shocked to see Rita didn't have a win in the conference, which is like I can't remember the last time St. Rita's basketball team has not had a win in the conference.
Yeah, and actually I'm going to not Phillips, Brooks tonight. So one of my buddies from grammar school and high school. His son just won the Tony Lawless Award winner for basketball, Gonzalez.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
That's fantastic. Which team does he play for?
Brother Rice.
Oh, get out. Yeah, they're fantastic this year. Second in the conference, I think, behind DePaul.
Yeah,
so
right? His name is Marcos Gonzalez. So we're going to see him tonight. I'm going to go see him tonight and see him play with my guy's son. It's because his dad was a good basketball player, real good. So, yeah, the other teams are
enjoy it. I love that Catholic League. I grew up right around there. I went to St. Lawrence, but respect everything Rita and Rice and all those good schools have done. So
great stuff, buddy. We'll talk and keep losing, Bulls. Keep losing.
Sounds good. Take it easy, Shawn. Always good to talk to you, buddy. Bye-bye.
All right, man. Later. Guys, that's Fred Peiffer from the Big Red Bus talking Bulls basketball with us. We're going to take a quick break, and on the other side of the break, you know what time it is. My man's in them. Ken Davis. So keep it locked right here. Shawn and Maya in the morning on Sports Zone Chicago. Hey, it's your boy, the SuperBack, Shawn Sierra, and be sure to follow Sports Zone Chicago on all social media platforms, on Facebook, Instagram, and our Roku channel. You can find us at Sports Zone Chicago, and on Twitter, we are at Sports Zone Shy. Also, be sure to download our mobile app so you can take Sports Zone Chicago with you on the go.
Time out. How are you feeling right now? Happy? Excited? Angry? Overwhelmed? One of the best things you can do for your mind health is to name what you're feeling. It can sharpen your awareness and help you talk about your feelings with someone you trust. Here are 3 questions to ask yourself. Where are your thoughts right now? In the past, the present, the future? Do you notice any sensations in your body? Is your heart beating fast? Is there a flutter in your stomach? Or are you fully relaxed? What do you need right now? Time with others? Time to yourself? Remember, there's power in this awareness. So find ways to identify what you're feeling today.
Listen, what's so beautiful about the coaching staff that we put together is I didn't hire a bunch of my friends. I went outside of my circle on purpose because I wanted to collect a different mix of experience, of energy, ideas, and we're all going to make it come together, and it's going to be the Chicago Bears going forward. And so it can look a number of different ways. Eric Bieniemy's got a lot of experience in the gun run game and what they did in Kansas City, obviously. And Declan has a lot of success from the Sean Payton tree. And Press Taylor has a lot of success from the Chip Kelly all the way on. And so we've got a lot of library, if you will, to draw from. And we'll see it all come together once we get our hands on these guys.
Welcome back to Shawn and Maya in the morning on Sports Zone Chicago. That's the man, 50 grand or 13 million grand himself. OG Ben Johnson, baby. He is the head coach of the Chicago Bears down in Indy. And I like that part of that presser. I didn't go hire my friends. I hired people who were recommended, guys who have a good track record, guys who have a good resume. And I love it. I love it. When you're building a squad, you got to go get the best, and the best that were available. I think he got a lot of those people. I like the Eric Bieniemy signing. I love the Allen signing. Okay, the Antoine Randall L, bringing him back home. Okay, a lot of good really good signings. Rochard, the offensive line coach. You got a quality staff. I told you the other day. I had lunch with my guy Marcus Sullivan. Played for Fenwick U of I, and he played for the Bills for a long time. Then the Giants and the Pats for a year each. And he was saying Rashard's the real deal. And Trey Smith is the guy you need to go get because he is a tone setter. Doesn't matter what type of offense, if it's power gap scheme or if it's a zone blocking scheme, he can do it all and he sets the tone. So I'm like, okay. So believe me, I'll take advice or I'll take his comments with a lot more validity, okay, than guys who haven't played in the league. This is exactly what he does. So looking forward to the preseason, the free agent season, and we're going to talk to my next guest about that, and among other things, free agency as well as the draft and why they're down in Indy. So, man, he's a good friend of the program. You know him, you love him. He's a former host he's the host of that Davis show. Used to be the former host of the Under Center podcast. My man, you can find him on Twitter at That's Davis. My man, Ken Davis. My man Ken, what's up, Papa? How are you?
What's poppin', man? How y'all doing on this side?
Nah, we're doing good, man. I'm doing well. Really good workout this morning. talking Bulls basketball, and I get to talk with my mans in them. You know,
Yes,
I love it.
yes. Good day, good day.
Who's got it better than us? Who got it better than us?
Nobody.
Oh man, dude, I'm excited. You know, there's a lot of buzz, even though the Bears aren't the belle of the ball because of the first number 1 overall pick, like they were the last 2 seasons. They still seem to be the belle of the ball because of Ben Johnson. Talk to me about how happy you were with with him hiring and the hiring of the staff that he has as they go into the combine.
I have wanted Ben Johnson to be the Bears head coach for the past 2 seasons. I think my biggest disappointment in Ryan Poles was the fact, and it's still one of those questions. We talked about it on here last year. One of those questions on how much control did he have over firing his coach last year, knowing that Matty Eberflus had gotten an extension, and did the ownerships want to pay for them to have a new coach after just giving him that extension? But common sense, I'm just being honest, this is my opinion. Common sense made sense to pick up Ben Johnson, on top of that being in division. But also, and a lot of people always wonder when he pulled his name away from what was going down in Jacksonville, did he have cold feet or not? And I think we heard this from his press conference. He wanted to be here. He wanted to be in Chicago. And he was waiting to see if this job was going to open up. I will say this, if this job didn't open up this year, I think he would have taken a head coach position somewhere, because you have to strike when the iron is hot. You don't know what could happen in Detroit. That's not to say that some other team may not want him, but sooner or later, you got to get off the toilet. You know what I'm saying? So I'm happy that the stars did align. I think that he is an offensive wonder kid. I do like the staff. I'll say this, though, and, you know, just to let a little air out of the balloon, rightfully so, Dan Campbell is like Andy Reid, and one of his things to his coaches is just don't take all my coaches when you leave. You know, I'll look out for you. Even if you look at some of the guys that he has on his staff, there are guys that had a connection with Dan Campbell when Dan Campbell was either in New Orleans or in Miami. So it's still through the Dan Campbell tree and Sean Payton's tree. But nobody wants you to leave and take everybody with you and then leave me barren, let alone when I'm trying to contend. Again, like I say, Andy Reid tells his coaches that when they get a head coaching position. And I'm sure Dan Campbell, the same thing we saw with the offensive line coach when initially we thought we were going to get the Lions O-line coach, and then he was retained. Like, don't do me dirty. You're leaving. Don't do that. So of course you had to reach out. I'm happy. I do like this. I like the fact that he followed what Dan Campbell did to get former players on his team, because it's clearly an easier connection when you've had someone that's had some skin in the game before. You know what I'm saying? Like, definitely anybody can coach, but it's easier to coach if you've been out there. That's not to say that every player can become a great coach, but right. You mentioned Antoine Randall L. We all know the type of cornerback Al Harris was as a Packer. You know what I'm saying? Like,
pain in our ass.
Yeah, a pain. You know what I'm saying? And also, you know, on the lighter side, a good character. He was one of those guys that you always saw with the kids on the back of the dirt bikes when they were going into camp down in Green Bay. So I like the staff. I wonder how long it's going to take to necessarily form Voltron, where he has to install his system. I don't think it's going to take forever. I do think, and I know this can happen. Let me say this. I'm a Ben Johnson guy, big Ben Johnson guy. Ben Johnson was number 1 on my list. He wasn't number 2. He's been number 1 on my list for a long time.
Well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
yeah. You know, like, because I'm understanding, like, Josh, like Bobby Slowick, not knocking it, but we saw what the offense in Houston did this season. It wasn't as good as it was his rookie year down there. So for me, I was always Ben Johnson. Things could happen. I could be wrong. This may not work. I think the likelihood that it's not working is a lot less, because you got the best candidate out there. You didn't play around. You signed him. Regardless of how you feel about Kevin Warren, this is why we brought that energy into the building. How
much influence do you think he had, saying, this is the first time you're going to fire this guy and pay this dude more than he should be getting as a $13 million? How much is that do you think is Kevin Warren?
I think when you get him coming from the Big Ten and you have to persuade him, hey, you want to do this, you can't tell him that the checkbook's going to be closed and we're going to be finicky when it comes to spending money, because you have to spend money. Listen, let's play this game, Shawn, right? So did the Bears tell Kevin Warren he could do what he wants? The Bears bought land in Arlington Heights, and Kevin Warren told them, screw that. You're going to spend more money on something else. That lets you know the checkbook had to be open to bring in Kevin Warren, because he's like, I'm not coming there to play. I know you're a mom and pop shop, but we're going to have to start expanding like the Walton family. And, sooner or later, we're going to have Walmarts all over the country, like that's what you're going to have. So I think you can definitely see the effect of Kevin Warren. And we'll have to see. Listen, I've been a Ryan Poles fan, but Ryan Poles is really messed up. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just the truth of the matter. I can be a fan of somebody, but also point out you haven't been doing your job properly. The trenches are trash if we're just being straightforward. And that's where you build a football team. So he's going to have to prove a change in philosophy with not just your drafting, but also to a degree with pro personnel. You're gonna have to make some changes, because you haven't been knocking anything out of the park. All of your linemen are below average for the most part that you've brought in here. I'll say some are can touch average and can feature above average. You know what I'm saying? If we're talking about Gervon Dexter at times, but for the most part, nobody has been him where we're like, yo, we got us one. And it's been a minute since we've said that about somebody in the trenches. I saw somebody talking about Billings higher up on here. I'm a Billings guy, but they didn't think Billings was going to end up being the type of guy when it came to pocket. They just thought he was going to be a run stuffer, but then they found out that he could push enough pressure and push in the pocket back into the quarterback. So it's just one of those things where he's learning on the job, and now hopefully it's to the point that he knows what he's doing a lot more than he did when he initially got this job as the Bears general manager.
I hope so, because I agree with you completely. That's one of the main reason I wanted him gone was his refusal to address the line. And don't skimp. All right, don't skimp. Don't let me get this free agent, this journeyman, that journeyman. No, when you have your quarterback that you feel is a franchise quarterback, all right, you go get some. You don't go get some bullshit insurance. All right, you don't go get the general. Okay, you go get you some real. No disrespect to Shaq. No disrespect to Shaq, but you go get you some good ass insurance. All right, so you go get some dudes who are going to protect him. You're going to need three first rounders in that offensive line. Give Caleb as much time as possible. They did it for Brady. Brady was standing there in the back, flat-footed in the pocket. So you can do that.
With no agility whatsoever.
Yeah.
Also, I'm not the Brady guy, but he's also just great. It's extremely just one of the best, if not clearly the best quarterback ever. But when he's able to not be athletic and still manipulate the pocket. Like, you don't have to be athletic to move within the pocket, and Brady is the king basically of that. I got a question for you. I think when the first three picks, you're probably looking at 2 to 3 trench places. I'm saying something on the defensive line, but I think Shawn is going to be offset by what they can do in free agency when it comes to the offensive line also.
I do too.
I think you may see 2 offensive linemen come in through free agency, which may then – yeah, I'm with you. I'm not for sure. All right. But
so we're here.
Yeah, we here. I see you. So then that may be a situation where either you bring in a tackle when you're looking at the 3 tackles at the top of the draft, or you bring in a guard, or it could be one of the kids like, you got the Campbell kid, the Banks kid, Campbell kid out of LSU, the Banks kid down in Texas, where a lot of people could say from Banks' height that he may be a guard tackle, and with Campbell's arm length, he may be the same situation. You may do that. Then you got the kid in Minnesota who I've liked, but didn't necessarily have the dominant tape that you wanted to see within the Big Ten. But I think you're going to see that. And I was going to say this to something you were saying earlier. He has to stop trying to be a sleuth. You don't need to try to show us you can find someone. That's cool in from round 3 on back, but like really, but particularly in the first round, draft him. Like, don't mess around.
Here's a low hanging fruit, bro.
Yeah, I'm gonna show you that this guy could be. Nobody knew what they could do with him. No. Stop all of that shit. Go and get the kid that was the standout in college. You've had too many outside of last year. All right, because we're still waiting to see with Wright. You've had top draft picks, and we're waiting to see what happens. Like I'm a Caleb guy. We're still waiting to see what happens. I'm a Rome guy. We're still waiting. Now, I'll say this to my point. They were guys who anybody would have drafted. You know what I'm saying? They weren't where you were like, I'm about to show them. These were the consensus picks within top 10 on most draft boards within the NFL. You know what I'm saying? So I'm saying go with that. Don't try to play around. You again now, to kick a dead horse, I would have drafted Jalen Carter over Wright. All right. But you sat there and you drafted Wright. So that's what I want to see Ryan Poles do to try to switch this up. And to your point, and I think this is the key with bringing in Ben Johnson, one of the things that we know. Ben Johnson is not going to allow him to play with the trenches in the way, particularly the offensive line. I think it will influence the defensive line. But even if you look at Detroit, they hadn't put tons of equity in the defensive side. Of course, they drafted Aiden Hutchinson, and they were good at drafting guys to go around Aiden, but they hadn't found like the stud necessarily. But you saw even what they do in free agency to try to help. But they were kind of getting it done. But that's what I'm hoping is going to take place because, man, listen, we're tired of sucking. Whatever. If I had to put a pause behind that or not, but dog. It doesn't make sense. Chicago fans deserve better. Like Chicago fans, man, take it to the face. Pause again. And cause dog, listen, Shawn, I know you. You're gonna pay. You're gonna spend that what $175 for those first 3 months of the Sox package. Are you getting that?
Hell no.
You not getting it? You not getting it?
No.
Listen, if I go to 8 games, I'm in the black with that. If I go to 8 games, and I know you're gonna go see Bone. I know you're going to see Bone though, right?
Dude, here's the problem. Don't look me in the face, piss on my shoes, and tell me it's raining. All right, they've done that for so long. All right,
dude, I've been out. For you to say this, I need to hear this from people that still went to White Sox games and they've been this bad. I need to hear you. I needed you to say this because this is what in Chicago these teams deserve. Like, stop giving people that don't like you your money. They don't like you. They don't.
I'm arguing like their output's having a home opener, an outing for the home opener. I'm like, all right, I might have to do that. All right, I might do that. My guy Hirsch is having an outing too, so I might go to because the reason I like the home openers because I haven't there's a lot of people that I haven't seen last home opener. So you know what I mean? Like just life gets in the way.
Still ain't get my tacos yet.
So it's you know what I mean. So it's cool, but other than that, yeah. If anything,
how many games did you go to last year? Before we get back to the Bears, how many games did you go to last year?
3.
I went to one. I went to one game and somebody had a suite. So sweet life. You gotta go live this. You gotta live the sweet life. But
I went. Somebody gave me a ticket too. It was a suite. I was like, ooh,
gotta go. You got to do it.
Why? Yes, I'll have another dessert. But back to the Bears. The problem is, and here's what I've been saying for years: these freaking general managers. All right. Remember growing up, we didn't know who the fuck the general manager was. It was always the head coaches. The head coaches were the personalities. The head coaches were those dudes. Now, every sport, baseball, football, basketball, hockey, soccer, track, it doesn't matter. Now these general managers got to be the in the spotlight. Right? Why remember baseball? Oh, general man, according to our analytics of what managers only three wins or something. No, don't give me that nonsense. The culture you set. These general managers want all this attention. It started with Sleuth, with Sleuth, the Crumbs, all right? Back then, remember everyone liked
Jerry Krause.
Jerry Krause. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to be the smartest guy in the room, and that's their issue. They wanted, look what I found. Look what my scouting staff did. No, look at this dude who's a Big Ten player, a SEC player, who's not. Get him. Because he's played against guys who are going to be playing on Sundays and did well. No, I'm going to Southern Utah because my guy. No, stop that bullshit. They do this all the time in every sport, and watch it. It's the head coaches who are losing the fame or the notoriety, and also we hear about all the GMs now. The GM here, the GM there. They want to be the smartest guy in the room. They want to show how smart they are, and oftentimes it bites them in the ass. And Ryan Poles doesn't have any more room. All right, for these draft picks. His third round picks every year have sucked. They haven't done anything And those are guys who, if they're not starters, they need to be in a rotation. Bayless Jones sucked. Zach Pickens. Who was the last one this past year that the third round pick?
They got the kid. I'm in. Is that where they got the kid from Yale or whatever? Was that the third?
Oh, Kieran Amagaji. And we still don't know about him. But why are you reaching for a guy?
No, you don't have that. Okay, that's my fucking problem right there. You are not good enough to say I'm gonna do a project in the third round.
Yes,
and your offensive line is trash. You had to get a guard from everything that you had to say. Just said you had to get a guard from the Big Ten and SEC or North Dakota or something, right? That's one of those small schools we'll mess with.
Whatever the Pac-6 is.
But you had to go and get the best guard, you could possibly get in the third round with that pick. You didn't have time to say a kid from a great school when we're talking about academics that was hurt, that you could bring him in, that couldn't even help you this season, perhaps, that you can bring him. Like, dog, do you know the stones you have to throw that down and say, yo, I got the time for you, dog. What are you? And let alone, to your point, you got a rookie quarterback, and your quarterback prior to that was getting his ass kicked. This quarterback getting his ass kicked, and you're not doing anything to stop them from getting shell shocked. Like that. That's the part where it's like, dog, you can't play games like that in the third round, bro. Dog, you have to have been to. No, you probably had. It's not even. You have to have won a Super Bowl to be like, I'm about to play around in the third. Like, that's the type of equity that you have to build up where we'll be like, yeah, he winning bowls, baby. You know what I'm saying? Like, you do that. Then it's like, okay, he's proven a track record that he finds these guys. So then even if he missed, we'd be like, yo, dog, but remember, he found so-and-so in the fifth. He found so-and-so in the fourth. He found what's the name in the sixth. Like, we could go back to that and that track record to say it's okay that you missed in the third, because in the past you've proven this is what you do. You have not proven whatsoever when it comes to sleuthing. And everybody, I know we got an old crowd here. We always talk about Jerry Krause because Jerry Krause wanted to prove that he could go fast. He found Scottie Pippen, right? I found Scottie Pippen, which, okay, but listen, other teams was going to draft him in the top 15. It wasn't like Scottie was going to fall out of the first round of the NBA, all right? Like, it wasn't that. Right, it wasn't that situation. But you found Scottie, so you had to prove that you could, and it really did become to fruition. And that's where you get angry at Ryan and Ian Cunningham, because let's throw Ian Cunningham ass in there too. Yeah. Because particularly when you're both former offensive linemen, and that was the narrative, and I guess inferring that you knew something extra special when it comes to offensive linemen. And we've yet to see that. Listen, I have no problem if Braxton Jones has been a swing tackle all these years. I'm like, do you know how much we would love Braxton Jones? And who's like, man, no, people will be asking for Braxton Jones to start if he had been a swing tackle that in spot duties came in and showed he could play. Now, we'd all be wrong when he got his ass out there and got beat consistently, but we would be like, dog, we got to look at the Green Bay depth, like how Green Bay moves around offensive linemen when someone's down or something like that. That's where Braxton Jones is supposed to be. Braxton Jones is supposed to be the first guy off the bench when something's happened. Oh, man, we didn't even know he could play guard with his light ass. That type of guy, that's who he's supposed to be. He's not supposed to be your starting left tackle. Oh, your starting left tackle. This isn't even your right tackle. This is your starting left tackle that you're doing this shit with.
This is the insurance for your franchise quarterback. This is, when you own a house, all you people own a house, you know what's up. First check you write every month is to the mortgage. Second one's the insurance. And you don't got his back? Come on, man.
You don't have either. You don't have the house or the insurance. You don't have the guy coming off the bench for this insurance, and you don't have the starter at left tackle that's the house. And you left Justin out there, and you're doing the same exact thing. And that's like, where is the lesson learned? Like, that's the problem that burns you. Like, even when we're talking about Donnell Wright, like, it'd be different if he was a guy, and he had that one good year at right when he found his position at Tennessee. It'd even be different if he was one of those guys who, like, he has such an upside that at one point after just playing, since he only played right really for a year at Tennessee, we let him play right here, and then we could see him transitioning over to left. This is a right tackle that you spent a top 10 pick on, basically. You know what I'm saying? And again, it's still out on what he could be. There's a chance he could be something. I see somebody mention that as far as Kieran. No one's saying that Kieran may not be a good player, perhaps. Right. For one, chances of him being a stud are less likely. It's not that he could be that, but that's not a likelihood that the whole NFL thought, nah, right? Like the first 3 rounds, basically, but that was like, or 2.5 rounds was like,
I don't see any other GMs going, damn, he got Kieran Amagashi, you son of a biscuit.
Right. But again, it's the point. Our point isn't that we know that there's still a chance for him to be him. We're saying that you didn't have the likeliness of having a guy that can't play this season and help you immediately is what we're saying. That's where – go ahead, Shawn.
And you could have got him later. You could have got him later. No, they weren't busting down the door. They weren't a million calls to his agent. Get him later. Get someone you need.
Right.
Okay, get someone you need, and then get someone that you can develop later. And that's the thing that's, again, my reason why I didn't want Poles back. But he's back. Nimola. Okay, good. So now I hope – and Ben Johnson said in his presser, opening presser, he's like, I'm looking forward to working with him in the draft process. In other words, I'm gonna let them know what I need.
I'm
buying
the groceries, baby.
I'll let you know what groceries to get.
You are not.
I'll write the list for you.
Yes, here. This is what. And look, no substitutions on this. All right. I don't want you sitting there like, no. I'll get exactly. Spend the extra money and get this. All right. We're not playing.
So let's talk about the number 10 spot. Well, we do got to talk about free agency first because that's going to dictate. I'm with you. I think you have you got cap space. You're going to get Trey Smith and Dahlman. If you get those two, that gives you a little more flexibility. Dahlman's the center from the ATL. I like him. He's 26. He's hitting his prime. He's a veteran. So now you got the center, right guard, right tackle, right? And now if you want to draft Will Campbell, you give him the tackle spot until he fails. Like, okay, now we're going to move you in. All right, cool. All right. But get him or Banks, whichever one, and give them the first shot at left tackle. Say, hey, you got to compete with, or put it this way, Braxton Jones, you got to compete with this guy because he's going to take, this is his job unless he loses.
That's also the problem. So I like the character of Braxton Jones, but that's where Ryan Poles has done him a disservice by there's been no competition. Like, it's particularly a left tackle, and he hasn't proven. Like, it'd be different if Braxton now, like last year, we finally saw where it's like, oh, he is him. And it took 2 years before that for him to get there. But at least I can understand giving him those reps, right? But the fact that you anointed him left tackle and there will be no challenge whatsoever, right? You are anointed, sir. Like, that's where you can't do that, particularly if he hasn't shown. And that's a disservice to Braxton. Right. I know when you said it earlier. I know what you said it earlier, right? That's where it's a disservice because, one, he didn't earn it, right? You didn't like the guys that Ryan Pace had there before him, right? You regressed Borum, and I'm not saying that Borum was going to end up being some superstar, but when it goes to, Simo, right? The great Simo, right? Borum regressed, Jenkins regressed, right? Yes. So he was supposed to coach these. He's supposed to teach them this technique. Both of the guys that you had, that regardless if you drafted them, you still had some equity with something someone left for you. I'm not going to say, like, I buy a nice house and they got, like, this kick-ass kitchen, but I didn't install it. We got to rip it all out. No, look, we're going to keep some of this stuff. We may change the paint coat, put an island up in this joint, but I'm not going to throw all this premium Sub-Zero stuff they had up in here because
I need fast appliances, not Sub-Zero.
Exactly, like the Kohler faucet. Like, I'm keeping the joint. Like, don't get mad at it. Like, especially if they have some good taste. And that's where it's still one of those things. But to your point, I'm with you. I wonder if Smith is going to hit free agency. We all know that Kansas City has like 4 guys they got to sign. Basically, I don't know if Reed is going to come back. They may let him go. What's going to happen with Bolton? They definitely have to keep the defensive end. What's the Greek kid? Karlaftis. They definitely have to keep. They can't let him go, because there's one thing they've done is been able to trick up that defensive line to where they've kind of kept young people to go Chris Jones around to where they can apply pressure, particularly in situational football, being able to apply pressure. But they got to keep him. So he's getting tagged or signed. One or the other, he's going to get paid, and then you'll see where else. I don't know if McDuffie's money is up yet, but they got guys they have to sign. So I don't know, one, if Trey Smith is going to be. I'll say this. I'm cool with them signing Trey Smith. If they can get the second dude, and this is what's some hate. I'm going to have some hate coming out of my heart. man, Jalen Carter was putting him in the flux. All right, like and I know look, this may be the best 3 technique in the NFL for the next 5 years. All right, so I know that Ken, you just can't say that when you got this crazy ass DT on his ass. I'm just saying, if I'm giving him top guard money, I need you to be a lot closer to Hutchinson. All right, like I need you to be him, and that's where I'm kind of like. And again, this is me because I got a lot of hate because you helped lose a championship. But it's just one of those type of situations. But I'm with you. If you got to get like that's one thing, particularly with this draft. I know we're talking free agency with this draft, not having a center. You don't have a Frazier in this draft, a guy that you can be like, yo, we can put this kid
Frazier,
in.
Cedric Van Pran.
You don't have
the last 2 years. They're like 5 or 6 good centers,
and you could have steadied the situation up the middle.
Bingo.
Right.
Yes.
And also it's a position that usually, even when that kid comes up on contract, you don't have to pay him crazy because he's a center. Like you could have you wouldn't like now you have to pay someone because you didn't draft a center. So now you have to give someone premium center money because a position, and this is where when we're talking about Kieran Abigadaji, this is where it's a problem. The third round is where you're supposed to show how cold you are because you find a center that people were like, yo, he's kind of good, or he was a guard that people knew maybe he could transition, and now you move him to center, and what damn, you know what I'm saying? Like that's where you're supposed to use those picks so you don't have to pay premium for a position that you're supposed to be able to find in the draft, like Ryan Post has done thus far.
Here, I'm gonna put something up and let me see who you like here. These are the guards. Trey Smith. This is their average value. Sorry, I know it's like minuscule. 20 to 22 a year. Wolf Rice, 13 to 15. Mekhi Becton, 9 to 11. Kevin Zeitler, 6 to 8. James Daniels, 6 to 8. Brandon Scherf, 5 to 6. Zach Martin, 7 to 9. Although Zach Martin just retired, actually. So, Patrick McCarry, 8 to 11. Aaron Banks, 8 to 10. Will Hernandez, 4 to 5. And then I think it said honorable mention was Tevinjenkins. Like, no, we're probably not bringing him back. So, who would you like if you don't get Smith?
Look at that jump to Trey Smith from the guy right behind him. And you talking about that again, but look, Shawn, you have to do that when you've been messing up with offensive line. So I'm not going to be mad. I'll tell you who I would like, but I don't know if the Bears have the luck of the Irish in this situation. I would like Mekhi Becton, but the question is, did he benefit from the center and the tackle around him?
Right.
With him being able I don't know if we're good enough to sustain him. I do. This is the thing, though. I do believe in what Ben Johnson will teach. I know you mentioned the offensive line coach that they brought in. What's it, Rashard? If he's him, then Becton would be a guy, when you're talking about someone that was looked at being a tackle and it's huge, I mean, it envelops people. He would be a guy that I would want to bring in and hope he would continue to grow. But I don't know, dog. That's the thing where you put him on a really good team in Philadelphia and he flourishes. The Bears don't have that talent around him. So you may have to pay Trey Smith. I wouldn't want to give a guard that type of money, to be honest with you, because even with Trey Smith to a degree, I don't know how much some of the help that he's had with the guys that are around him. I'm not trying to take something away from him. I know they found somebody nice in the 6th-round pick that's gotten to this point where he can set the market at guard. But that's where there's a little bit of hesitancy because sooner or later you're going to have to spend some money. And again, I know now that they have some money on somebody else on that interior alignment. I don't know if it needs to be a guard. Usually tackles don't hit the market. So left tackles don't hit the market. So that probably won't happen. But if they sign Trey Smith, I'm not going to be mad, but it's just one of those things. So think about it like this. You're going to have to sign a center, right? So now you're giving a guard premium money. You're probably giving a center really nice money. And it may not reset the market at center. You may not give him Travis Kelce bread or whatever, but you're gonna give him some nice money too. And you still got questions. And I know we said, I'm with you. I think you have to go. There's no question you have to go to the draft with a left tackle because nobody's got left tackles out here that's just begging to get traded. You know what I'm saying? And you don't even want to give up the draft equity to have to bring in a top flight left tackle at this point because that's your 1st-round pick and it could be one of your 2nd-round picks or another pick from a future draft. So I'm cool if they do Trey Smith. It's just one of those things where it's unfortunate that the Bears are in a situation where you've had draft equity to find guards and centers. I can understand, for instance, you not getting Joe Alt didn't fall to you last year because even though I was a person that in talking to Rome, I was like, I like this kid. He really gets it, right? But I was a Joe Alt guy. I was like, boy, if Joe Alt falls down there, forget offense. Forget skill position. You go get a stud left tackle that you can insert for a decade and call it a day. You know, I know it's sexy to be like, if Neighbors had failed, if Rome was there, you know, if the kid out of FSU, the kid that went to the Rams, the defensive end, if he had failed.
Jared Verse.
Yeah, Jared Verse. But if you could get your hands on Joe Alt, that's it. That's what you do with your quarterback. You make sure that his blind side is covered. And now end with this, and that's where when we keep talking about, you said this earlier, miss out on third round picks. That's where you were supposed to find these centers and guards. Even if you didn't find a stud, you were supposed to find durable, capable guys to where we're like, you know what, we got the backups, or we got a guy that can be inserted at any moment, or he's good enough until perhaps they come along somebody later. That you were supposed to find those type of guys. And this is something, you know, I've been saying on the show for years. People will get mad. The depth sucked. You didn't put depth behind guys who were average, right? Like that. And you didn't give competition to average guys from the depth. And that, to me, is one of the gross negligent type of issues that Ryan Poles has fostered while his term here as the general manager of the Chicago Bears.
Yeah, so I'll ask you, like I asked the question on Monday, how hot is his seat going into this year? Did he buy him some extra time with Ben Johnson? Did he get a couple years, or is his seat a little hot?
I think he got a year. I don't think Ben Johnson. I don't think Ben Johnson will call for his hit, because I think that's what's going to be. And when Ben Johnson is like, this isn't working, right? Because Ben Johnson isn't going anywhere. Ben Johnson has a nice 3 years before anything takes place. Sorry, wait.
Before he starts getting on that, before his seat starts getting warm.
With the bread they pay him, they're not going to pay him to be on the streets. All right.
Yeah. Because you still got Eberflus for another year, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes. So they're not. It will be a situation where Ben Johnson has to say that this isn't working, this partnership isn't working, and he knows there's someone out there who can find him. This is the point that you said earlier. Ben Johnson definitely has the list of groceries, but Ben Johnson may get to the point where he's like, you know what, I want to give you a list, but I also want you to be able to bring something to the table where you show me a guy that I didn't see, because I am coaching during the year. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't have time to scout what guys are doing in college when I'm preparing a game plan every week to go out there and try to dominate. So I want someone who can, one, we see eye to eye, and then you seeing what I like, you find those guys without me pointing them out, but also you bring something to the whole thing that you played at the beginning of this, right? Where Ben Johnson said, I wanted someone else who doesn't see things exactly the same to add. He may want that in his general manager, and that may not be in Ryan Poles, where I want a guy that I wouldn't draft, he drafts, and the guy's a stud, or the guy brings a lot to the situation. So I think that, of course, this year, I think he will get 2 years, perhaps. I also wonder with the not telling on contract situations what his contract truly is, you know, as far as Ryan Poles. But yeah, I think Ryan Poles has at least 2 seasons, and I hope he does better. You know, like I hope he improves. But I'll say this: if he doesn't add value to what Ben Johnson is doing, I have no problem. I had no problem with him being let go last year, right? And that's what me saying. I'm like, look, I can like you, and you still cannot do your job and be like, yeah, he probably shouldn't be. He shouldn't be here. You know what I'm saying? Like, I could do those things. Can be mutually exclusive. So it's one of those things where, look, if they get rid of him, so be it, because he's had every opportunity to do his job. Now, it'd be different if we were like, man, Ryan Poles is finding those guys, but the coaching staff just isn't coaching them up. You know, like that would be different. And I don't think anyone thinks that, you know what I'm saying? Because nobody has left this organization that he drafted and become a stud. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's been like, man, we let so-and-so go, and he went and flourished at some other program. So I think that's true. You're looking at.
It's very true.
I think that's going to be the issue.
James Daniels' name is on there, and unfortunately, he's coming off a torn Achilles. And I never wanted him to go in the first place.
Me either. That was the Kohler faucet right there, where and it's not that James Daniel had to be a world beater, but he was good. Like, why? Why
fundamentally sound when he handled? Remember, he handled Aaron Donald.
Yeah, no, he could play two positions. Versatility, and the guy that could play center guard, and you got rid of him, where you never brought in someone as good as James Daniels.
No.
And who do you trust? Pittsburgh with picking up offensive linemen? All right, like you let this guy go, and the Steelers grabbed him. You know what the Steelers, they want to run it up your hoo-ha. So we know what they're looking for when it comes to stout offensive linemen that are capable. There was no reason, regardless of if he was going to get paid some better bread, you kept Cody Whitehair. And Cody was good when he was young, but Father Time was coming for everybody knew Father Time was coming for Cody's ass. And you kept him instead of, you could have kept both of them. I'm not saying you had to let go Cody Whitehair, but I'm saying if there was an either or situation, you shouldn't have gotten rid of James Daniels in this situation. That right there was, but you know, the Bears have been doing some messed up mess when it comes to drafting Tevinjenkins and then getting rid of the left tackle. When you could have just let Tevin grow, still had the depth of a decent. They haven't had what was the left tackle that went to Washington after that we used to all hate, but would never miss a game. Yeah, but he hated it. Well, give me some Jay Leno right now. And I know he's nothing now, but he went to Washington, was decent. Not to say he still will get beat.
He got a big-ass contract in Washington, too.
But the point being, when Pace did that, because we were all like, man, yeah, Tevinjenkins, man, you bring him in at right. We can see this, and if he grows, you can move him. And you're like, yeah, I'm moving him to left automatically. And it's like, what are you doing? And that begins part of the issue that's trickled down into this regime, to where you've messed around with this offensive line, and we have nothing to show. There should be one guy on here where we're like, that one, you leave him alone. There is no offensive lineman on here where like you have to make sure you don't trade him or do anything or let him go because he's that guy. That's crazy, particularly for a black and blue division. Or no, that the North isn't what it was when it was the Central. But you get what I'm trying to say. A division where you need to be able to run the football.
Yeah, because you got Chicago and Green Bay outdoor stadiums in the winter. You know you got to run. You ain't gonna be slinging the ball all over the yard at that particular point. So Jay Grizz pointed out, he drafted Tyler Scott, you let Darnell Mooney go.
Right.
So these are all things, and you know, although I am excited about the beginning, what they can get. I'm excited about Ben Johnson's input. I'm really excited about him building this offense. You know, when I told you he got me giddy like a little schoolgirl when he said I'm tearing it down to the studs and building it around Caleb. I'm like, there's a novel concept. Does anyone else know this? You know, and that shows you he's a leader. And the cool part about it, he's not really from anyone's tree. Like, this is Ben Johnson's offense. He's taken things from other people, okay? But this is his offense. So in Declan Doyle might be like, they'll be saying he's from Ben Johnson's tree, 6-7 years down the road. You know what I mean? That's the cool part. Like, this is this dude. So, there's nothing, he can adjust it. He can adjust it to the talent of his players. And I'm excited to see what they do with it. How Caleb, because you could put Caleb in such a better situation. Like I was saying, let Caleb throw the ball more. All right, let him throw it on the field. They didn't do. Caleb was throwing. He was doing Justin Fields shit. Screen. Dude, throw downfield. Throw downfield. He won a Heisman from throwing the ball down the field. Damn it, let him throw the ball down the field. Stop coaching the Caleb out of Caleb. Hopefully
we know there's going to be play action. We know there's going to be play action in the offense.
Yeah.
When you're talking about someone who has made Jared Goff into one of the better quarterbacks in the NFL, all the questions, the jokes about Jared Goff being thrown in that trade for Matthew Stafford, and I bet you to a degree, and I know they won a championship, if Sean Payton could get his hands on Jared Goff. Well, maybe not because they probably fell out, but you get what I'm trying to say. A player that ilk, with the accuracy that Jared Goff provides. And I'm not a Jared Goff person. I've said for the last few years, I want to see when Ben Johnson leaves what Jared Goff does. I don't think Jared Goff is going to fall off the planet. I think I was wrong. I think Jared Goff has grown within Ben Johnson to where they may not lead the league in scoring next year, but I do still think they'll have a good offense. This is the thing. I'm going to tell you one reason I like Ben Johnson. It'd be different if this was like Matt Nagy coming here from when you had Patrick Mahomes, you had Tyreek Hill, you had a younger Travis Kelce, right? You had a Kareem Hunt. And the reason I'm pointing is I'm talking about all the studs that Kansas City had on that offense. The damn near anybody. We know Andy Reid was still the offensive coordinator, but you get my point. Really, Jameson Williams has either been gambling or hurt, right? You know what I'm saying? You look at the fact that St. Brown is really the receiver, and then, of course, Sam Laporta stood out last year, but Sam Laporta didn't have the same year. Think about it, Sam Laporta didn't even have the same year this year as last year. They still led the league in scoring. The reason I'm bringing this up is this isn't a situation where we're bringing in a guy and he had studs all over the offense. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And then we're like, damn, we don't have those guys here, so we're waiting. He was making shit work with a really nice receiver and some thunder and lightning in the back and off a nice offensive line. That's really what he was doing. And a guy that could be a Hall of Famer, but was still young, and Sam Laporta at tight end. But this wasn't a situation where he's the greatest show on turf. You know what I'm saying? We're like, dog, man, he's going to come here. We don't have Isaac Bruce and Torrey Holt and Marshall Faulk. Like, this wasn't that situation. So when you got a guy that had the top leading scoring offense in the NFL, and he only had one stud receiver, you know, and we know Williams is physically is a stud, but he hasn't been on the field enough to prove it. He has a stud receiver in St. Brown, who is basically like what's his name used to be for the Steelers, Hines Ward, kind of Hines Ward-esque. I think he's faster than Hines Ward, but you get like that gritty guy that can do all of that stuff, you know, like a Hines Ward-esque guy. He has him and a nice offensive line and nice running backs. And I mean, look, I'm definitely a guy, David Montgomery guy, but I mean, David Montgomery isn't the bee's knees. I mean, now I'll say this: Jahmyr Gibbs is him. All right. And I mean, again, I think them together they're sweet. I think I didn't want the Bears to let David Montgomery go. That's not what I'm saying. I think, and David Montgomery did want to stay. Let's also remember that too. David
Montgomery, he chose Detroit over us.
I am not, because he wanted to win. That's another reason why you want to keep a David Montgomery in the building, because he's the type of guy where he's like, dog, this is nice and all, but I want to win. I don't want to waste my career away where I don't know what the playoff smells like, you know. And that to me is where you look at a Ben Johnson and what he could do with a team that has some good players, but they're not world. Like, put it like this: what he did at OC with those players, another OC couldn't pull that off. Not to say like a top OC, but that's not a situation where it's interchangeable as offensive coordinator. Like, he showed the way he could do from every game plan, let alone, of course, there's some trickeration, right? We know we're going to have some trickeration going on here with Ben Johnson, but still consistently. And this is the thing too. This is a guy that did it off of muscle. This is based off the run game, bro. You know, like, this isn't I'm about to be so sweet and so finessed on your ass, man. This isn't that. Yeah. This is I'm gonna smack you in the face. Right? Like, we getting off the bus. We're smacking you in. And then the thing is, we know that Swift may be here again this year, but probably sooner or later they're definitely gonna bring in, if they don't think what's his name? What's the kid they got from Texas 2 years ago, the running back?
Roschon Johnson.
If they don't think Roschon is the hammer, if he doesn't think Roschon is the hammer, they're bringing a hammer in this offseason. I'm telling you.
And that was going to be my next question. Who do you think they go after as a running back and win? Probably not 10. I don't think they go there.
It's not going to be. I think it's going to be. I think it's going to be day 2. Definitely, I think you maybe. So this is the thing too. You know what, Shawn? We don't know, because this draft is deep as hell.
Very deep running back, yeah.
And it may be a guy in the 5th round where we like, huh? And because one, they're not going to ask him to be an every world back. They're going to ask him to do one thing initially. Either he's going to be another fast guy that they can look that's going to take Swift's job in the future, or he's going to be the guy that can knock you on your ass between the tackles, you know, and may have some speed to him. But they're going to get a one-trick guy, I would believe, or they are ask him to do one trick. Let me say that. He could be a guy that could become an all-around back. But with this draft, I don't know what round, because I don't think you have to take a running back in the 2nd round. You know, like, you have too many holes in your trenches to use a 2nd-round pick if you're not going to get the kid from NC or Gentry. You know, Gentry. You're not going to get them in the 2nd round. Yeah, you're not going. So if you're not going to get a guy that to what we said before is proven, they're going to get against top competition that he's him. There's no reason to use a pick where you need someone on the defensive line. Like we've talked a lot ad nauseum here about O-line. You need someone on the defensive line that can garner a double team at some point. All right, like you do. And I don't care. I know this is the problem with the Gervon Dexter situation where you were supposed to get a 3 technique to take some pressure off of Sweat. And it's not to say that in a rotation that it's bad to have a Gervon Dexter, but he's still not him when you had a chance at Jalen. Imagine this, dog, we wouldn't even be talking about, one thing me and you always talk about on here is a Mark Anderson-esque guy, right? Yep. If we had Sweat, Jalen Carter, we'd be like, just go get anybody to go rush the quarterback on the other end. You know what I'm saying? But now you still need a true stud to go on that defensive line. So that second round pick, I mean, because you're not going to get Abdul ain't going to be there at 10. Nope. That second round pick has to be a edge rusher or a 3 technique. It has to be one or the other in the second round because you have to pressure the quarterback, particularly in this division. Dog, you have to pressure the quarterback. You know, you have to flip the field and get the damn ball back. And you putting all that on, all I got to do is shift the line to where Sweat is. It's not gonna work. That again is on Ryan Poe's ass. And this is one of my biggest pet peeves was, well, we don't think the locker room can handle Jalen Carter. What are you like? So everybody babies out here. So the team can't police itself, which maybe the team couldn't. That's still on y'all for not having a veteran in there, getting rid of all the vets. Not having someone that they can follow, you know, you're not having an Olin crew to somebody in there that's going to be like, yo, we ain't playing like this. You know what I'm saying? Like you don't have that type of guy, Big Cat, like when we were kids, younger or whatever. Right. Like you don't have that type of guy in there. Okay, that's one thing. But your head coach isn't going to be the sheriff then. Like so what were we doing then? If you're like, man, we were just not at that point, dog. You know how finite a career is in pro sports. Your ass could be fired. I'm talking about Ryan Poles. And all you had to bring in was a knucklehead in Jalen Carter, who only had to be a stud for maybe 3 years. Nobody would have been mad if Jalen Carter had crashed out and was out of the league. It wouldn't have been on you. We knew coming from Georgia, it's a crash out factor added in it. But if he gave us 3 stud years before he crashed out, man, hey, and you could have benefited from doing that. And now Philadelphia is set basically with this kid for for the future, basically, because you were too scared to pull. Dog, football is not about having a bunch of Boy Scouts, and that's another thing with they were talking. This is not a Boy Scout game. All right, it's not.
There's an edge that these guys you got to have, and sometimes it's because of the way that they're upbringing. It's because of that, and you got to overlook it, man. You really, really do.
If be a stud, yes, you have to overlook it.
Yep. Ken, great stuff, man. I appreciate it as always, brother. Do me a favor, though. Let everybody know where they can find you and your work online.
Follow me at That's Davis. Everybody stay safe. And I hope everybody's doing well over here, man. I hope your mom's doing well, Shawn. I'll talk to you down the line.
Bet. Hey, we'll definitely hit a Sox game this year. We'll buy a 300 level seat and, sit in the 100 level.
Yeah, that works. That'll work for me, but I'm
bringing my flask again, too.
Dude, I still haven't used mine. Look, first, you got me. I bought 2. And I still haven't used it. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I got 2. So I'm waiting to get drunk for free. All right, everybody, but stay up.
All right, Ken. Thanks. Guys, that's Ken Davis, man. 2 hours is come and gone. What a phenomenal show. I want to thank Fred Peiffer for coming out and talking Bulls basketball. And, of course, I want to thank my mans and them, Ken Davis, for coming out and talking Bears. That was a phenomenal conversation with him. And if you missed it, I will replay this at 6 o'clock tonight. Foster Coverage said, how about a veteran QB and Zeitler at guard? I like Zeitler. You can get a guard in the second round, okay, and have him kind of learn under Zeitler because Zeitler is going to understand the type of run scheme that Ben Johnson wants. So I'm okay with getting Zeitler if you don't get Trey Smith. All right, I'm definitely okay with that. So, but listen, guys, have a phenomenal day. The weather, what is it, 46 already right here? Man, have an awesome day. Get out there. Let your loved ones know you love them because tomorrow is promised to no one. So listen, for everyone here at Sports Zone Chicago, first of all, sports owners, thank you so much. I appreciate the love and support you guys give me every single show. So for everyone here at Sports Zone Chicago, I'm your boy, the SuperBack Shawn Sierra. I am out.